Good evening, this is Rastak Zaka Jacob. The Prime Minister has doubled down on his attack on the Congress Party and its manifesto, especially all the talk about a wealth survey and redistributing the wealth among those who are the most eligible. The Prime Minister once again said the Congress, if it's voted to power, will not just redistribute wealth from Hindus and others and give it to Muslims, but he went one step further. He said the Congress will snatch reservations, which are meant for Dalits, SC, STs, OBCs, and then give a portion of that to the Muslims. He cited the Congress's record from 2004 to 14, particularly when it comes to states like Andhra Pradesh, who tried Muslim reservation for it to be struck down by the courts. The Congress says the Prime Minister is downright lying. Nowhere in the manifesto does it say about redistributing wealth, leave alone giving that wealth to Muslims. Neither does the manifesto say anything about Muslim reservations. So then the question is, will the Prime Minister doubling down and indulging in a sense in this polarizing rhetoric and the charges of appeasement against the Congress Party, will those charges stick?
उन्होंने कहा था कि देश की संपत्ति पर पहला अधिकार मुसलमानों का है। इसका मतलब ये संपत्ति इकट्ठी करके किसको बांटेंगे? जिनके ज्यादा बच्चे हैं उनको बांटेंगे। कांग्रेस के शहजादे का कहना है कि ये जो संपत्ति है उनको सरकार अपने कब्जे में लेकर उसको सबको बांट देगी। 2004 में जैसे ही कांग्रेस की केंद्र में सरकार बनी, सबसे पहला काम था चुनाव जीतने के बाद आंध्र प्रदेश में SC, ST के रिजर्वेशन में से कमी करके मुसलमानों को रिजर्वेशन देने का प्रयास।
देश को आप कैसा आगे लेंगे वो इम्पोर्टेंट है। वो छोड़कर आप हिंदू, मुसलमान, शेड्यूल कास्ट, बैकवर्ड, ये सारी चीजें हर जगह आप जो कर रहे हैं ये वोटों के लिए कर रहे हैं, देश के हित के लिए नहीं।
कभी ऐसा नहीं होगा वजीर आजम कि मुसलमान कभी भी किसी माँ का, किसी बहन का मंगलसूत्र छीनेगा, वो मुसलमान नहीं है।
2002 से हम देखते आ रहे हैं, आपने एक ही गारंटी का पालन किया है कि मुसलमानों के खिलाफ नफरत को, मुसलमानों को गाली दो और अपनी सियासत चमकाओ। हम इस बयान का खंडन करते हैं। हम चाहते हैं कि इलेक्शन कमिश्नर इस बयान का संज्ञान लें।
So the Prime Minister continues his offensive against the Congress on the basis of three statements from the Congress camp. First, the Congress manifesto, which calls for a nationwide socio-economic and caste census to strengthen affirmative action. The Prime Minister says it is a plot to snatch rights from one community for appeasing another community. The statement that came from Rahul Gandhi on the 6th of April 2024, right after the release of the manifesto in Hyderabad, he said that if voted to power, the India Alliance government will conduct a financial and institutional survey to find out who holds the nation's wealth. The Prime Minister says the Congress is plotting to steal the public's money for its own vote bank politics and wants to give the hard-earned money of one community to infiltrators. Then, the Manmohan Singh statement from 2006, where he said, we will have to devise innovative plans for minorities, particularly the Muslim minorities, to ensure that they are empowered to share equitably in the fruits of development. They must have the first claim on resources. The Prime Minister says the Congress launched a pilot project back in 2004, starting from the state of Andhra Pradesh, for Muslim quota, which was then rejected by the courts, adding that the Congress Party's Muslim quota push was at the cost of SC, STs and OBCs. That's the contention by the Prime Minister. Nowhere in the Congress manifesto is it mentioned that there's going to be Muslim reservations or that wealth redistribution means money will be taken from the rich Hindus and given to the poor Muslims. So that's the Congress's contention. Does the appeasement charge stick? Let's now go across to Sanju Verma, national spokesperson of the BJP, Amitabh Dubey, spokesperson of the Congress and member of the AICC Manifesto Committee, Ratan Sharda, author and RSS researcher, Rashid Kirpai, senior journalist, joining us. Sanju Verma, let me start with you first. Where in the Congress Manifesto does it say that they are going to redistribute wealth from rich people and give it to poorer sections? Where in the manifesto does it say it's going to give from rich Hindus to poor Muslims? And where in the manifesto does it say that the Congress is going to snatch away reservations from SC, ST, OBCs and give it to Muslims?
You know, Zaka, let's be very clear about one thing. The Congress Manifesto does not mention the word Muslim. But anybody who understands Indian politics and has an iota of common sense, and this is with no offense to none, Zaka, because we are in sensitive times and every word is being, guillotined by the other side. Let's be very clear. The Congress has said we will protect personal laws of every community. Now you tell me, the Hindu Marriage Act of 1955 is codified. The Parsi Marriage and Divorce Act of 1936 is codified. The Christian Divorce Act of 1869 and the Christian Marriage Act of 1872 is codified. So when you are talking of giving protection to personal laws, you are obviously referring to the Muslim community because the personal laws of 1937 pertaining to the Sharia Act are not codified. You do not need to be a rocket scientist to know when the Congress speaks about protecting the personal laws of minorities, they are actually referring to the Muslim community. Point number one. Point number two, if you are saying where has the Congress mentioned the word Muslim, why is the BJP getting rattled? Why is the BJP jumping the gun? By virtue of the same logic, Zaka, I want to know, when the Prime Minister gave that speech in Banswara, where did he mention the word Muslims? Can you show me if he even mentioned the word Muslim? He simply said that we do not want to give reservations or preferential benefits to a particular community जो ज़्यादा बच्चे पैदा करते हैं. Why is it that certain people are jumping the gun?
One second, ma'am. 2 points of contention. Number one, you said it's about personal laws. Prime Minister did not attack the Congress Manifesto for personal laws. Very clearly, he said it was about reservation. आपके मंगलसूत्र दे देंगे, आपके जेवर दे देंगे. None of that has anything to do with personal laws. And two, you asked me, where did he refer to Muslims? In the first speech that he made in Banswara, the starting sentence he said was 2006 में उनके प्रधानमंत्री मनमोहन सिंह ने बोला है कि मुसलमानों को पहली हक होना चाहिए. And then he said कांग्रेस पार्टी अगर सत्ता में आती है तो घुसपैठियों को दे देंगे, जिनके ज्यादा बच्चे हैं उनको दे देंगे. So is he dog whistling that Muslims are घुसपैठियां and that Muslims have more बच्चे?
You know, Zaka, I'm glad you asked me this question because I'm not going to, shove things under the carpet. I call a spade a spade. And let me tell this for the benefit of your audience who are the biggest stakeholders in this debate. The fact of the matter is this, that the Prime Minister has called up the bluff of the Congress party and he said it in as many words. Don't forget that on the 9th of December 2006, the Prime Minister then, Manmohan Singh, started by saying that we want to empower all communities, fair and good. He said we want everyone to have an equitable share in the fruits of development, fair and well, all is kosher. But then he goes on to say that the Muslim community should have the first claim on resources. Now, if you are telling me that is not dog whistling, but Prime Minister Narendra Modi only quoting what Manmohan Singh had said way back on the 9th of December 2006 is dog whistling, then you're living in cuckoo's land. And let me tell you one thing, Zaka, whether you like it or not, I think you understand the politics of Kerala better than any of us on this panel. And you know this for a fact. There is a minorities minister in Kerala called Abdul Rahman. And there are 5 Devaswam boards in Kerala. The Guruvayur, Travancore, Malabar, Cochin and Kudal Manikyam boards. And together these 5 Devaswam boards managed more than 3,500 temples. You heard that right. More than 3,500 temples. And this is not Sanju Verma speaking. 98.2% of the almost 600 crore rupees that these 5 Devaswam boards gather annually is not distributed amongst Hindus. It is not distributed amongst Christians. It is not distributed amongst Buddhists, Jains or Sikhs. it is distributed amongst the
Okay.
Muslim community.
So
has the Prime Minister said something which you and me don't know?
Let me bring in Amitabh Dubey. I want to bring in, for the benefit of our viewers, what the Congress manifesto says about socio-economic caste census, and also what Rahul Gandhi then subsequently went on to say. One of the oft repeated quotes is of his rally in Hyderabad a day after the manifesto was released. First, the manifesto says the Congress party promises to conduct a socio-economic and caste census (SECC) to enumerate the castes and subcastes and their socio-economic conditions. The manifesto also goes on to say that the economic empowerment of minorities is a necessary step for India to realize its full potential. Also ensure that banks will provide institutional credit to minorities without discrimination. We will ensure that minorities receive their fair share of opportunities in education, healthcare, public employment, public works, contracts, skill development, etc., etc. This is what the manifesto says. Mr. Rahul Gandhi, speaking in Hyderabad a day after the manifesto was released, says, and I quote, "An X-ray that will provide an insight to minorities on just how much of a stake of their population entitles them to have in the share of the nation's resource pie. More than this, we will also conduct a financial and institutional survey in a historic step to ascertain the distribution of wealth held by different communities." Sir, may I please ask you, Amitabh Dubey ji, why does your manifesto or your leader not say anything, not a word, about what the majority community and the deprived within the majority community should be getting, and that a fair share of deprived within the majority community should be getting? It's always about fair share of minority community. Why?
This is a completely false characterization of what our manifesto says. And Prime Minister Modi, it's very
Can
clear,
you deny a
disturbed by
word
the
of what I
reports
read
of
from
his
your
party's-
manifesto?
I will deny everything.
Deny a
Do not
word.
interrupt me. What
One
you said-
word,
what you
one
said is a
word
lie.
that I
What
quoted
you said is a lie.
verbatim from your manifesto,
Stop
Mr. Dubey.
interrupting.
One word that I quoted verbatim.
Stop interrupting like
No,
a
I'm not
troll.
interrupting you.
Stop
Don't
interrupting
accuse
like a
me.
troll and
Don't
listen to
accuse
me.
me falsely when you don't know
You
what
are
your own
lying, and
manifesto
I will
says.
tell you how. I know what our manifesto says. You
Okay.
are mischaracterizing what it said.
Okay.
Let me complete my point.
How am I
The Prime Minister
mischaracterizing it?
lied
No,
to the
please
people,
explain.
and You yourself
How
said-
am I mischaracterizing your manifesto? What did
You
I
said-
read
okay.
wrong? What did
All
I
right.
read
What
wrong
does our manifesto?
in the quote that
will
I
tell
just
you.
mentioned,
I
which is
will-
not mentioned
if
in
you
your
allow me to
manifesto?
speak,
Please tell me.
I will tell you.
Yes.
I will tell you how you are mischaracterizing the thing. You said that all the provisions are for minorities. Let me tell you what is there for the general category of voters. Number one, for women, we will give a 1 lakh payment to all poor women under the Mahalakshmi scheme. Youth, we will give 30 lakh jobs to the youth of India.
Mr.
Public sector
Dubey,
jobs
that
to
is
the
not
youth.
the point.
Free.
I'm asking
We will
you,
give them
please
a
tell
Pehli
me
Naukri
which part of the
scheme,
manifesto that
an
I read
apprenticeship.
are you saying is mischaracterization or is not there in your manifesto? I read two parts from your manifesto.
fact-
I
the
dare you,
fact-
I challenge
the
you
fact-
on national television to say that this portion is not there in your
Listen to me,
manifesto.
You said that there are no provisions for the general category of people and voters for other categories. You said that
No,
they
no,
were all
no, 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 I
for
didn't say general
minorities
category. No, no,
and
sorry,
those
sorry,
kinds
no,
of
no,
segments.
I know exactly what I said. Your manifesto talks about rights and fair share of minorities and the minority community. I asked
For
you a
everyone.
I asked you a specific question. Why don't you speak about the rights of the majority? Where in your manifesto is the word the rights of the majority community? That's what I'm asking you. Don't put words in my mouth. I know what I
The
said.
rights of the majority, I insist that you let me speak.
Okay, go ahead.
We have the entire manifesto contains provisions for the majority of the country, whether it is women, whether it is youth, whether it is farmers, whether it is workers working in Manrega who we have promised a 400 rupee wage to, and last but not least, SC, SC and OBC. Prime Minister Modi describes himself as Sabse Bada OBC, but he refuses to count
Mr.
the number
Dubey,
of OBCs in
may
this
I
country.
ask you a simple
Thousands
question?
of
I get your
crores
point. Okay,
of
I
the
take your
budget.
point. Can
Kindly
I?
let me finish.
No, no. Give me
Yes.
10 seconds. I have a very small intervention. Why are you in such great discomfort, in such great unease? You have said SC, ST, women, you know, the whole plethora, right? General category. Those are words that you used. Why can't you for once say, we will look at grievances within the Hindu community and address those grievances? Why is that such a big problem
Okay.
for you
I
and your
will- let
party
me
and your
clarify.
manifesto? Please.
In our manifesto,
Yes.
contrary to what Prime Minister Modi misleadingly and falsely said, we do not have the word redistribution in a manifesto, and we do not mention any religion, whether Hindu, Muslim, or any other religion.
What does we will ensure that minorities receive their fair share of opportunities mean? Who are these minorities?
If you allow me to speak, I can explain.
Yeah, who
Our
are these
manifesto,
minorities?
If you
Yeah.
bother to open the page on minorities, put it up on your screen. It says linguistic and religious minorities.
Exactly.
There are linguistic minorities in India and there are religious
So
minorities
you are
in
saying
India, and all of our
you are
provisions apply
saying
to them.
that when you
all you have to
say
do is read it.
in paragraph 6, one second. One second, Mr. Dubey, one second. When you say in your manifesto, quote, we will ensure that minorities receive their fair share of opportunities in education, healthcare, public employment, etc., these are linguistic minorities. Who are these? Are these Tamils, Malayalis,
These
Telugus,
are linguistic and
Marathis?
religious minorities.
Who are, no.
If you are capable of understanding
how
language,
exactly, sir, are the linguistic minorities? First of all, please enumerate for us who these linguistic minorities are, and two, how exactly are these linguistic minorities discriminated against in a way that they don't get their fair share? Please explain.
The Constitution of India clearly lays out the rights of linguistic minorities. Point number 2 of the section on minorities lays out how we will protect and defend those rights. If you go down the entire section on minorities, it does not specifically highlight religious. It talks about
that's a
religious
lie,
and linguistic minorities. Now, I leave it to your readers and
Neither
viewers
does it,
to
by the way,
understand.
Mr. Dubey. Neither does it explicitly say linguistic
Please.
minorities. And pray you have not characterized for our viewers who these linguistic minorities are. Are Tamils linguistic
you are
minority?
making a false statement.
Are
It
Kannadigas
clearly says
linguistic minority?
and
Are
religious
Malayalis
minorities.
linguistic minority? Who are these linguistic minority that, as you say, your manifesto refers to? Who are these linguistic minorities?
There are linguistic minorities across the country in every state who are given rights according to the Constitution,
No, that is a
which,
lie.
by the way, Mr. Modi
Please
is
stop peddling
dreaming
falsehoods on
of
national
changing
television.
and getting rid of provisions such as reservations.
I'm
So
sorry.
let us not divert.
I'm sorry,
the topic.
Mr. Dubey.
You are now
I really think you think our viewers are, fools to think that the
No, I
meaning
think
of the
you think your
sentence.
viewers are
To think that the meaning of the sentence, and I'm reading that for the third time on the program right now. It's 15 minutes into the show. We will ensure that minorities receive their fair share of opportunities in education, healthcare, public employment. If you want our viewers to believe that the Congress party is using that in reference to linguistic minorities, then I'm sorry, either you explicitly mention that or you think our viewers are a fool. Anyway, let me now, one second. Let me
receiving their fair share in this country.
Let me go across to our other guests. I want to bring in Ratan Sharda. I also want to bring in Rashid Kidwai. Again, I go back to what the Congress's manifesto says. For instance, there are promises to ensure the economic empowerment of minorities, as this is a necessary step for India to realize its full potential. There's also an express promise to ensure that banks will provide institutional credit to minorities without discrimination. There is again an express promise to revive the Maulana Azad scholarships that are meant for Muslim minorities in higher educational institutions. So clearly, either I don't know English, Ratan Sharda, or Mr. Amitabh Dubey wants us to believe that these are Marathis in Tamil Nadu, Tamils in Maharashtra, Gujaratis in Bengal, and Bengalis in Kashmir. That's what he wants us to believe.
Zaka, first of all, since he's a person from the Manifesto panel, let me point out that in the interviews that some of the Manifesto panel people talk, they had no clue how many people will take 1 lakh per month, 1 lakh per year at home. What will the cost? How many crores will be spent on those people? No statistics at all. This was all, statement of intent. No homework was done on that. They come here talk about manifesto. Now, he talked about majority, minority. What is majoritarianism, by the way, in their manifesto? Who is that majority whom they are blaming for majoritarianism? Will they clarify? And when they say that we are not talking about minority of this or that, and they break the entire majority into different castes, different sects, different groups, and they say we are. So what is it showing? It is showing they are trying to break Hindu society So every section that we talked about, every section is a minority then. And they say BJP talks about, they say our manifesto doesn't contain this or that. But does BJP manifesto contain anything about last election? Does it anywhere say that we will demolish the constitution? No, but they have been harping on this, that BJP will, destroy the constitution. BJP will, this was the last election. They are saying this since 2019. And as far as their intention is concerned, let me remind them, in Karnataka this year, in their budget, they took away temple funds worth 445 crores in taxes, and they allocated 330 crores for so-called minority institutions. Are Hindu devotees paying money or their donation or contribution to suckle and to nurture these people? Whoever they are meant for their dharma. It is not being used. They said it is not first time. In 2007, Rangnath Mishra Commission under UPA said there should be special inclusion of Muslims in scheduled caste, scheduled tribe reservations. Then Sachar Committee said, which is the biggest damning evidence of failure of their secularism, that Muslims are the more backward community.
Okay.
Thirdly, Manmohan Singh again said that we will have special quota for Muslims. If this is not all majoritarianism versus minoritism, so when they insult the dharmic people, when they use Sanatan, when they talk of South-North divide, when they talk of Aryan-Dravid divide, Khadge had said it, mind you, that I am a Dravid, I am not Aryan. So when they say all this is all fine. When Modi speaks in rusty language, what they put in a sophisticated English language, that becomes communal.
Rashid Kidwai, today the Prime Minister took this attack one step further and he said, back in 2004, one of the first things the UPA government did, the then United State of Andhra Pradesh, was to bring in 4% quotas for Muslims. That reservation for Muslims in government jobs and education, the High Court quashed it, the Supreme Court stayed it, and then eventually it went to a 3-judge bench which said that 4% quota cannot be given on the basis of religion. They asked the state to identify backward and economically backward under the E category and gave that 4% within the 29% OBC reservation in higher educational institutions as well as in government jobs. So there's no reservation by religion which the Constitution of India explicitly disallows. The reservation that's been given, 4% for Muslims, is under or within a subcategory within OBCs in Andhra Pradesh. And the Prime Minister said on multiple occasions, the Andhra Pradesh government tried this legislatively, it came to court, the court struck it down. Again, when Kiran Kumar, first it was YSR, then Kiran Kumar Reddy, it came to court and the court struck it down. The Prime Minister is saying the Congress, if it's voted to power, will take away quotas from OBCs, SCs, STs and give it to Muslims. Well, the evidence of 2004 to 14 bears them out.
Not really, Zaka. Zaka, if you look at various schemes, we have a secular government, but we have a sort of communal politics, and that's the long and short of what is going on. Here, facts have become casualty all along. As a child, in UP, we had a saying, "Kaua kaan le gaya," in the sense that nobody would care for facts, and this is exactly what is happening in the discourse. Why is, first of all, whether it is Congress or the BJP, why is that such a fuss about some kind of concessions or some kind of affirmative action being accorded to minorities, or for that matter Muslims in particular? It has been a stated policy. You look at Minorities Commission, you look at Linguistic Commission, you look at the Hajj Council of India, you look at Aligarh Muslim University, you look at Ministry for Minorities Affairs, which is funding and supporting 600,000 madrasas. I'll repeat, 600,000 madrasas. There are thousands and thousands of scholarships that are being given, merit scholarship scheme for minorities run by Government of India. The municipalities all over the country, provide for graveyard, for all kind of community this thing. Power supply to
one second. So Rashid Kidwai, no, Rashid Kidwai. So then I have a small intervention. Which of this has Modi taken away?
He's not taking it away. That is what I'm saying.
So then,
this is what I'm saying.
So then, what is the peeve against him?
Overt politicization. You see, there's an overt politicization. There is an attempt, as my friend Ratan Sharda was trying to do, to otherize minorities or Muslims in particular. Muslims, they are taxpayers, they are law-abiding citizens, they pay GST, they are very much part of armed forces, everything.
Okay.
So there is no why are we looking at a different thing? And Zaka, just to conclude from my side, see, there are government of the day has affirmative action for various, sects, and of course, economic criteria is very important. So, Pasmanda Muslims are getting a benefit of reservations in various governments, including Bihar and many BJP ruled states. There is a Hajj house, Hajj committee in all BJP ruled states, including Uttar Pradesh.
Okay.
So they are providing a lot of funding.
No, Prime Minister also talked about it. Pasmanda Muslims, he said he tried to make greater reservations for them, and the India Alliance stopped it. But Sanju Verma, so what is it that the BJP? That's a separate debate. That's a separate debate. Why does the BJP and why does the Prime Minister have to specifically target Muslims and minority community and say, after all, you say सबका साथ सबका विकास? Where is सबका साथ सबका विकास when you say कि इनको छीन देंगे, दे देंगे, ज़्यादा बच्चे पैदा करने वालों को दे देंगे? Where is सबका साथ in that?
Zaka, this is not relevant to your debate. I'll come to that in the just next 10 seconds. I have more Christian and Muslim friends than I have Hindu friends. I've, studied in a convent, and I don't think we've ever discussed, आप pork खाते हो या beef खाते हो, आप राम पर विश्वास करते हो या जीसस पर विश्वास करते हो या प्रोफेट मोहम्मद पर विश्वास करते हो या जय श्री राम कहते हो. Be that as it may, I'm as cosmopolitan as they come. Answering your question specifically, I have been given to believe, Zaka, and correct me if I'm wrong, the proof of the pudding is in the eating. Actions speak louder than words. And if actions indeed speak louder than words, I want to ask Rashid Kidwai, can you deny the fact, Mr. Kidwai, that 31% of PM Awas Yojana funds are allocated for minorities, especially Muslims? 33% of Ayushman Bharat funds, please, you will answer after I'm done. Thank you. 33% of Ayushman Bharat funds are allocated / disbursed to minorities, especially Muslims. And these are not data points Sanju Verma's doffing of her hat. You can check this data points available on relevant government websites of the Modi government. 34% of PM Kisan Yojana funds are allocated / disbursed to minorities, especially Muslims. 36% of PM Ujjwala Yojana funds disbursed to minorities, especially Muslims. And 37% of Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana funds allocated / disbursed to minorities, especially Muslims. Last year, 4,300 Muslim women went to Hajj without a male accomplice or mehram. Prior to that also, more than 4,600 Muslim women went for Hajj without a male accomplice. 2019, the Modi government made instant triple talaq unconstitutional and illegal. This after 52 Islamic nations had already done so, and we were already 40 or 50 years late. And still people like Mr. Kidwai, who's undoubtedly very erudite but is blinded by visceral hatred for Narendra Modi, why is it that you can't believe the fact that Modi has not only talked the talk but walked the talk? 10 lakh people who get employment under the Hunar Haat program, which encourages rural handicraftsmen and artisans, are basically people belonging to the minority sector, especially Muslims. 3.4 crore Muslim young men and women were given scholarships under the first term of Narendra Modi. 5.9 crore young Muslim men and women and people belonging to the Christian, Buddhist, Jain and Sikh community have been given scholarships for higher education under the second term of Narendra Modi, and yet you call him divisive. Yet you call him a polarizing figure. You need to do the explaining.
Let Rashid respond.
Clearly, she's supporting and complimenting the argument I had made that this is a secular government. It is doing sabka saath sabka vikas in terms of, as far as the governance is concerned, government as per our constitution is secular, is also socialist. That is the long and short of it. There are a lot of schemes that I was saying. Sanju Verma has given data.
No, now comes the what's the political point that you're making?
Political. Yeah, I'm saying. That is what I'm saying. The and communal polity at the time of elections, there is a concerted attempt to otherize a community, so that Zaka, we know that there is a trust deficit at the social level, at the political level.
No, but Rashid, then you need to explain, if as Sanju Verma, and you're not doubting her statistics, if you're accepting the statistics that she's giving in Awas Yojana, Mudra Yojana, Ujjwala Yojana, where a good number of Muslims have been beneficiaries, and this is one of the things that the Modi government says, that we don't discriminate when it comes to our Labhartis, then where is this whole othering that you're talking about? I mean, where is it coming from? They're not
That comes in
othering.
pronouncement.
The government is not othering.
No, government, look, the political, the heads are doing it. It's very clear, Zaka, as you are rightly saying, we are a constitutional, democracy. So constitutionally, all the things that are due for citizens and citizens, whether they are Muslims, Hindus, Christians, Sikhs, Buddhists, it all been granted. But when it comes to electioneering, there is a kind of this divide that 80-20 business is going on, and that is where election commission should come in.
Amitabh Dubey, so even Rashid Kidwai says constitutionally as a government, the Modi government or any other government cannot afford to discriminate against Muslims, but politically there's this whole thing that's kept alive that, oh, Modi is anti-Muslim, and if Modi comes, he's going to snatch away everything from the Muslims and give it to the Hindus. Mr. Dubey. And that, Rashid Kidwai is saying, is a political project.
Well, it's not.
It doesn't bear itself in fact.
What Mr. Modi's views are is very clear from his words. The fact of the matter is that our manifesto provides a solution to one of the critical problems of the Modi era, which is record inequality. In the level of inequality in India today is greater, according to statistics, than it was during the British Raj. The victims of this are Hindus, Muslims, SCs, STs, OBCs, everyone. So Mr. Modi is discriminating against everyone without discrimination. That is the reality. And when we talk about schemes like Mahalakshmi, one of your previous speakers said that we don't even have a budget for this, or we are not clear about it. Let me make it very clear. When the Modi government waives and writes off 16 lakh crore of loans, when it does a tax cut of 2 lakh crore, corporate tax cut for the biggest firms, no one has a problem. When we propose a scheme for the poorest people, the Mahalakshmi, that will also have a cost of 2.5 lakh to 3 crores based on the Modi government's own poverty statistics, suddenly it becomes a radical redistribution and so on and so forth. It is very clear that Mr. Modi's focus is on the rich, for the rich and of the rich.
Okay.
And this is the reality. And
look, see, your leader, Mr. Gandhi said, and I quote again, an X-ray that will provide an insight to minorities on just how much of a stake their population entitles them to have in the share of the nation's resource pie.
That is not what he said.
This is exactly what he said. Please, like I said, I'm challenging you again. 6th of April, 2024 in Hyderabad. The words that Mr. Gandhi used, an X-ray that will provide an insight to minorities on just how much of a stake their population entitles them to have a share in the nation's resource pie.
That is not what he said, and I will tell you what he said. He said SC, ST, OBC. We will do a social and economic caste census that will provide an X-ray into the level of underrepresentation and discrimination in our society.
Sanju Verma, final words. I really have to wrap up. I only have 30 seconds, please.
The Modi government promised in
2018. 30 seconds, please. 30 seconds, please. Yeah, thank you.
Zaka, the Congress talks about wealth redistribution. And I think that that's a completely horrifying concept. I do not in my lifetime want to see India turning into another Venezuela. Do I want the poor to be empowered? Yes, as a national spokesperson of BJP. Do I want marginalized communities who've had legacy issues, be it scheduled castes or scheduled tribes, to be empowered? Of course, yes. And that is what the Modi government is saying. It is saying let reservations not be done on the basis of religion, but on the basis of whether you are socially backward or educationally backward. That is precisely the reason, Zaka. 33 lakh crore, which is equal to 10.2% of India's GDP, that has been transferred via the direct benefit transfer scheme to the poor and to the marginalized sections of India's communities.
All right.
Various religions in the last years.
I am completely out of time. Thank you very much to all our guests. Let's see how this plays out in phases 2, 3, 4, 5, whether or not this will have an impact, whether this will actually turn up the base for the BJP, because there is also that view that this is a political statement to try and up the voter turnout, which particularly in northern Indian states, Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh, which went to polls in the first phase, there has been a significant fall in the voter turnout. So whether this will rile up the base, we'll have to wait and see.